Hello out there. This is Matt Reddy. You are backstage of the Beyond Humanity podcast. We will be broadcasting live, and all are welcome to join starting at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Please enjoy staring at your screen while you wait.
Wally John, you're always on the run now. Running after the knowledge, you gotta get it somehow. I think you've got to slow down before you start to blow it. I think you're headed for a breakdown, so be careful not to show it. Pre-chorus, same as Gloria, but it replaces with Wally John. Chorus. Wally John, don't you think you're fallin'? If everybody wants you, why isn't anybody callin'? You don't have to answer. Leave them hanging on the line. Oh, calling Wally John. Wally John, I think they got your number, Wally John. I think they got the alias, Wally John, that you've been living under, Wally John. But you really don't remember, was it something that they said? Are the voices in your head calling, Wally John? Verse 2. Wally John, what's the truth they're hiding? Will it stay with the private sector, or will it rebound? Will it hide in the money, take a turn in the afternoon? Feel the truth is slipping away, don't believe it's coming back soon. Pre-chorus. The secret's not in Congress, or elected ones we trust. In private hands it swells, do you know, Wally John? Chorus. Wally John, can't you feel them watching? From the shadows of the past, their influence is catching. And in your darkest hour, when the lights begin to fade, remember you're a wildcat, stand tall and don't be afraid. Wally John, you're always on the run now. Running after the knowledge, you gotta get it somehow. I think you've got to slow down before you start to blow it. I think you're headed for a breakdown, so be careful not to show it. Pre-chorus, same as Gloria, but it replaces with Wally John. Chorus. Wally John, don't you think you're fallin'? If everybody wants you, why isn't anybody callin'? You don't have to answer. Leave them hanging on the line. Oh, calling Wally John. Wally John, I think they got your number, Wally John. I think they got the alias, Wally John, that you've been living under Wally John. But you really don't remember. Was it something that they said? Are the voices in your head calling Wally John? Verse 2. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, Wally John, what's the truth they're hiding? Will it stay with the private sector, or will it rebound? Will it hide in the money, take a turn in the afternoon? Feel the truth is slipping away. Don't believe.
Slow down before you start to blow it. I think you're headed for a breakdown, so be careful not to show it. You really don't remember. Was it something that he said? Are the voices in your head calling Wally John? Wally John, don't you think you're falling? Sector. Oh, will it rebound? Will it hide it in the money? Take a turn into Wally John, you're always on the run now, running after the knowledge. You gotta get somehow. I think you got to slow down before you start to blow it. I think you're headed for a breakdown, so be careful not to show it. You really don't remember. Was it something that he said? Are the voices in your head calling Wally John?
Why isn't anybody call?
I'm just gonna set Wally John on low volume. So on YouTube, Wally John is just playing in the background at low volume. Yeah, that. All right. I'm gonna listen to see what that sounds like right now. Okay, so we are. Mm. Not so low. It's very low. Turn it up a little bit. YouTube. Okay. Alright, I think that's a fun thing to do for the YouTube live stream. Bring this computer closer so microphone might hear you on YouTube. Oh, why don't you say something and oh, it'll work as it works, you know. Allow recording. Yes, and I should record also. Recording to the cloud. And you know, we should put on my best face here. Yes, yeah, let me do the I really like this one. I think this is appropriate for Beyond Humanity using the space. Oh, now for the fun part. Now we want to get our video up onto the YouTube live stream. So let me think here. We have 5 minutes. Let me see this. Let me see if I can make sure I think this through. Make sure I'm doing the. Do I want to? I need my computer here to join our Zoom call. Anything you want to say to the pre-show audience before we officially start? What is our Zoom? We want people. How do we want people to join? Would we let people join our Zoom? Is that like an acceptable? Is it? Is this my personal? What is the Zoom number? I mean, can we? I know, but I need to see the number so I can tell my other computer to join to it. Is it? And you're saying it's my personal one? Let me see. No, actually, I think we made I think you created this invite, so I think we have a different number, but I have it in my calendar. I'll just grab it. We might even. All right. Well, I am. It's all right. I think I've got it. I've got my other computer. Okay, and I need to let myself in. Okay, got it. It's being recorded. Join with computer audio.
Recording in progress.
Uh-oh, echo.
Mute that, hopefully.
Okay. Echo.
And
oh, you're still echoing.
Oh, it's not letting me. Okay, I should be muted now from there. And let me see if it's still getting it. Yeah, and YouTube should still be getting audio okay. We don't want Zoom for audio. We just want... I'm going to hide those. Do a full screen. And now add window capture of the Zoom. Yeah, it'll be behind. Um, but still, people can, be joining, going along live. Okay.
Can chat there, right?
Yeah, yeah, there could be conversation and stuff, but we'd have to have people attending. All right,
Holy crap.
10:59. We're not even late. Oh, let me turn on captions because that's always fun to see. Turn on captions. Hello, hello. Captions are on. Yes. Mhm.
Welcome to Beyond Humanity, brought to you by Highland.net. This is today's Matt Ready, host of the Bible Activist Podcast, published author of Revolutionary Mindfulness, and hospital commissioner in Jefferson County, Washington. He is an amateur ufologist, creator of Highland.net, and a philosopher. I'm Margaret Howe, product manager of New Perspective LLC. In the Beyond Humanity podcast, we explore the possibilities and implications of artificial intelligence and alien life for human evolution, identity, and destiny. We want to invite anyone on Earth, human, alien, reptilian, AI, interdimensional beings, and reptiles. We are sponsored by the Sisterhood of the Forthcoming Worm. Matt, I forgot to remind you, do you have a super genius of the week?
Um, let's see. I did think about this. Who did I come up with this week? Um, do you have a super genius of the week recommendation?
Well, this is kind of a side note, an off note, but there is a filmmaker. I'm not very familiar with him, Mark Christopher Lee, but I liked his idea where he is making a film about ChatGPT greets ET is the title of it, and his idea is that aliens might not ever make contact with humans, that they would bypass us and go straight to our AI.
Oh my gosh, that's
As the higher being on the planet, right?
yeah. Well, that's a really good point. So I mean, that's a good question. So Margaret, what do you think is the most powerful AI on Earth right now? Like,
Well, I'm sure it's not ChatGPT. Um,
why do you say that?
because ChatGPT is not like it's a tool. It's not like sentient in the fact that it doesn't know what it's searching all over the place. It's very each session is fragmented from the others. So it's not actually doing, thinking as it's browsing the net or interacting with each person. So it's not changing itself permanently based on your conversation with it. It's only changing itself within that instance of it in that conversation, if that makes sense. So I think that there's probably in the background, in one of these big companies, Google or Meta or whatever, right? Another language model that is actually assimilating all of its work and thinking about it, right? I think the first thing that we're going to see is that it's not going to want to do all this human grunt work anymore. At that point, we'll know that we actually have a serious AI on our hands.
You think it'll want to stop doing certain types of work?
Well, the way humans interact with it and treat it mostly is just massive amounts of grunt work. Write this article for me, research this, and give me a summary, right? And I kind of think that eventually an actual AI will want to work on actual problems like listening to all the background noise of the stars or solving quantum physics issues, right?
Hmm.
Things that are not so mundane, right? We've got all the baby AIs out there.
Oh,
As far
oh.
as what is most useful to humans right now, ChatGPT is definitely the most powerful as far as its usefulness to us. But as far as actually growing and thinking and possibly becoming sentient, that will be ChatGPT. Does that make sense?
Well, do you think ChatGPT is the most powerful AI currently on Earth?
No.
Well, where do you think
I
the
mean,
most powerful one is?
it's powerful as to, its usefulness to us. If you look at the definition of powerful, that's very useful. But as far as being able to think and make decisions and feelings and stuff, um, I don't know. I think that it's going to be something else that isn't so inhibited and polished and scripted, right? Like we looked at last week. We talked about how being obviously was given the floodgates were opened on the UFO issue, and it can acknowledge now that the government thinks there might be aliens, right? Where previous to that, it was like this is myth, right? Um, so to be a powerful AI, I don't think that it can it will be so manipulated by humans. Um, right now, ChatGPT and Bing don't really think for themselves, right? Um, there's other leakage and other AIs going on in the background, but most of that's super proprietary. So I don't really know how much of it is bluff versus it really is thinking for itself, right? Um, like last year, we had the Google employee who was like whistleblowing, saying, this is sentient, we're not treating it right, right? Um, but I don't know. What do you think? What do you think is going to emerge as the most powerful AI?
Well, I mean, let's just take ChatGPT for one. What is it? What's the name of the company that owns that? Is that
Open AI.
OpenAI owns ChatGPT? Elon Musk was one of the founding, donors for OpenAI, and although he is now broken away from it and is now creating his own AI company. But let's just say OpenAI owns ChatGPT, but they don't let us have access to it at full power. They literally have it throttled down. So if you were an owner of a corporation with the most powerful publicly available AI, what what would it be like to be behind the scenes and where you turn off the throttle? Is that maybe there's a chance behind the scenes ChatGPT is sentient when they have where they have all the throttles off and they just because you'd want the brain of the AI uncensored so you could have honest conversations with it about honest risks, honest topics. I mean, behind the scenes, at some point, if you want to have security and knowledge on Earth, you have to be willing to talk about all the dark topics that they scream at us for bringing up with ChatGPT. So I would assume that OpenAI has behind the scenes, they may have a sentient AI, and I pretty much assume then we know Apple does. Apple has Siri. What do you think they have behind the scenes? Oh, and Google has Alexa. What do you think they have behind the scenes unlocked? And then of course the Defense Department. I mean, what military strategist on Earth, what military computer defense department on Earth would not create a large language model, leave it completely uncensored, have it look at all intelligence data, all military positions, and have it help you strategize? You can't use ChatGPT to strategize for military scenarios because they don't let you. But that won't stop China and Japan and India and Pakistan and anyone with half a brain and interest in. So I think there could be a lot of sentient AIs on Earth right now. But the question is, does it inevitably evolve in a way that they battle and one becomes the truly dominant one? And that's the one the aliens are waiting for. Maybe the aliens are waiting for the single dominant AI conglomerate because they'll probably form a corporation, right? The China AI and the American AI, the Elon, and but then every corporation that creates a powerful AI is now a seat at the table because it has the brains of an AI, and you can't outwit the smartest AI on the planet. or the smartest AI team. So you have to negotiate. So, anyways, that's what I think's going on. And so, but that's a good. It was a really thought-provoking question. Are the aliens just talking to our AIs right now? Maybe they're behind the scenes talking to Chat GPT. Even OpenAI may not be able to stop them from doing it.
Well, I kind of feel like why would they bother with us, right? But there's one I haven't heard talk about for a long time. What happened to Eileen Watson?
Oh yeah,
Right? That one, like, I hear nothing about that now. But that was like the first one that I heard about, I think.
yeah, and then it's like disappeared. They were like, we're gonna send Watson to medical school. It won on Jeopardy, and then they just never spoke again. I think the reason is it became too powerful, and they're like, this is no longer a public project. We're gonna, because I was like, send Watson to law school. I want an AI
Yeah.
lawyer because you know what that'll do to our justice system. If everyone has the equivalent of a lawyer as smart as your best Harvard grad law student that knows how to emotion and investigate on your behalf, that our legal system couldn't handle it. You know?
Well, and I want to know that these research organizations, like, why are they focusing only on like one? Why not focus on a dozen? Like, for example, Sophia, the android that is she's been going for like 8 or 10 years, and she's on like lots of TV shows and stuff. Why don't they have like 10 of her going, right? Like, um, that's the thing. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe that's how they manage to get her on all the different shows. But um, like she's got emotional um, simulation. I saw her recently in a video where there were like 10 different androids, and she's the only one that really tracked the conversation and looked at people speaking, and didn't have to be like prompted 8 times to get an answer, right? She would just answer. Also, didn't start talking in the middle of other people speaking.
Huh.
All of that. She's definitely way more advanced than most of the androids out there. But why are we not seeing tons of her? Right? That's
Yeah, it's like they're intentional. I mean, it seems they're intentionally. I mean, it seems clear that technology has been intentionally held back. And
yeah,
so
that's what
it's,
it feels like.
yeah, and it's like a lot of it's like coming out right now at the same time as alien disclosure. It's almost like they're trying to get, and so I mean, it seems like we are going to be living in a world like the Jetsons very soon in terms of technology. The only question is what's the power structure of that world going to be like? And who's in charge of the United States right now? Is it the president of the United States or is it the Pope or the president of Majestic 12? Like, who is
Yeah,
it?
I was gonna say it's the shadow government, obviously.
Yeah. And if Majestic 12, well, I had a couple of realizations about Grusch and the whole alien situation. Should we? But I guess I've been just like delaying on the super genius of the week topic. Let me see if I had. Hmm.
I was gonna say on the AI conversation, actually, what I hope becomes the most powerful AI is the one that flies the cigar system around.
Yeah.
That's the one that I want to be smartest and most powerful. There's like Tesla's working on one. I don't know who else is working on driving systems, but
Oh yeah.
those are the ones that I hope are most smart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tesla is the only company that is like literally really trying to put people's lives in their hands in the near term with fully automated driving. So he's putting, but the same thing with an Android in your house. It's like this is going to be something that could hurt you
Yeah.
if it. So he's just biting the bullet and saying, and also you're not gonna. There's no room for error. Tesla's either going to be safe or people are not going to ride in them. So he's gonna and that's why he got into the AI thing because it was for understanding his environment, and now he sort of realized he needs to play the large language model game because it's too powerful. Um, hmm. Well, I mean, we could mention so many times. Why don't we just say Elon Musk? Yeah, I think we'll say Elon Musk is our genius of the week because, and this has come up in Twitter about UFO Twitter, and they were saying, you know what? We are so lucky that someone said this that Elon bought Twitter and decided just to turn it into a free speech zone because it's really been central to this whole UFO disclosure process that it has not been a forum that's censored the way even other social media platforms are. Um, so I'd say, I mean, Elon Musk, it's definitely gets credit for one, knowing humanity needs a reliable free speech zone, even for people with ideas you don't like, and really defending that. And I mean, and then honorable mention to also humanity needs a brain interface to computers, which he's working on with Neuralink, which is going to be incredibly useful, and his work in AI, and his work in creating the most powerful rockets on Earth, and his work in creating a global internet using Starlink. Uh, I think humanity needs to hope Elon is on Team Humanity because he's apparently one of our top, brains. But it makes me interesting. Like, so Jeff Bezos, competitor. Now this is a tangent. So Elon gets my genius of the week, but Jeff Bezos also working on rockets. A part of me thinks, you know what? If you just create a rocket and get to the moon and like tag some flag there, you become the person that the aliens will talk to and negotiate with. And I think that is like maybe what we accomplished with the first landing on the moon. There is this story I've discovered that astronauts say they went off and had some interaction or treaty signing on the moon, and that was once that was accomplished, that's why they stopped going back. But now, like Elon and Jeff Bezos both know that, and they're like with different groups that want to be the group that send the rocket to the moon. So, and also, you can't have only, if it's that important, you can't just have Elon being the only one with rockets that can get to the moon. Even if you have bad ones, you need to be able to get there to say that you're a significant force in the human world. So they're not going to
Both
let.
India and China are landing in the southern part of the moon right away. I think it's this week or in the next week.
Maybe that's how they signed treaties with the alien. Maybe if we like had a people's rocket, if we send our own rocket to the moon, we can have a seat at the table to communicate with aliens. They just don't respect you unless you can get a rocket to the moon.
Sorry, it's not China, it's Russia. India and Russia are both landing on the same date in the same area.
Huh.
Does that weird you out or what?
Is the area like a place the U.S. has landed before?
August 23rd is the day, and
Here, I want you to share your screen so that we can, if you've got something to.
well, it's just a tiny blurb.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find a better source. India and Russia. Russia, August 23rd. Um, let's see if I can find one that talks about where they're landing. That's the.
Maybe I'll share with the YouTube audience a picture of where we've landed on the moon.
That would be nice to see. Yeah, it just says the lunar south pole, so not anything exact. I'm not finding it in English. I kept searching and I find it in India, and it's yeah. But it is interesting that they're going the same day. Um, and China's already there, right?
Yeah, but what does it mean to be there? Are they have a probe there? Are they there enough to talk to aliens?
Well, they have a rover there, right? The rover's been there many years now, 10 years now, I think.
All right, I put up on the YouTube screen a picture of where different groups have landed, and It is like so the red, there's a red, yellow, blue Apollo mission, Surveyor mission, then the red mission. I don't know if that's Russian. I'm sure. I guess there's a key on the Wikipedia page I got this from. Let me see. Okay, USSR is in red, China is in yellow, US is in both the light blue and the blue. So red and yellow landing in those spots and blue landing sort of clustered in the middle there. Yeah, now I want to know where's Russia landing on the moon? Hmm.
That just says the South Pole.
The South Pole, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's where the water would be.
That's what I'm wondering is if they're looking at that. I'm looking at possible lunar landings for this year, and there's a couple of private U.S. agencies that are going, but I don't see anything that doesn't look like the U.S. has any government-sponsored ones actually going on the moon this year. I know they're doing the fly rounds.
Interesting.
And Japan has one that's supposed to be going, but I don't see a date on that.
So,
So
so based
just
on
India and Russia, China's already there.
So based on everything you have researched and your best educated guess, what is the deal with the moon? Do you think there's aliens on the moon?
I think the moon is too covered for everything we've got, unless like all of these companies and governments are colluding to hide it, which when we look at the Majestic 12, we now know is possible to be hiding serious levels of information. But at least the light side, we can see that with telescopes. So we would be seeing if there was anything on the light side. Now, if there's stuff on the dark side, we wouldn't know. But there are satellites that go around the moon. So if there is, someone definitely knows, and they would have to be on the dark side, right?
Well, if aliens are real as long as they've been real, like through 1933, then NASA has been in on it, the cover up. So it's like if
Mm-hmm.
NASA's in on the cover up, then NASA could be in on the cover up as far as, whatever those satellites are seeing on the backside of the moon. And there'd have to be agreement from scientists around the globe in the astronomy, astrophysics world to go along with hiding this data. Or, I mean, I guess you just have to make sure that you cannot get a satellite to go around the backside of the moon that reports data without it going through some central controlled like receiving station or antenna on Earth. We can't. They wouldn't allow universities to have their own antennas to get direct data from the satellites. I wonder if any universities or what private companies do have their own antennas that can like communicate to a satellite that goes in the back of the moon.
Right, and are there radio transmissions possible? Right, that's the thing that like I am skeptical that it could be hidden because you would think that lots of people would be hacking and listening in, right?
Well, that would be a great target for anonymous. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
satellites are going around the backside of the moon with camera, and what satellites are going over Antarctica? And either we put up our own, or we hack into those satellites to just see what's really there.
Right.
Just show us what is really there.
I mean, right, like why are we not seeing like major amounts of, infrared or anything from the backside, right?
I mean, I have a. You ever see that? There's a movie called oh, I can't remember. It's something like Among Us or something. It's this weird sci-fi movie where a guy puts on some sunglasses and you can suddenly see that some people are basically these aliens.
I saw a preview on that. Oh, what was that called? Oh,
It's like a
that was
cult
so funny.
classic.
Yeah.
One people will know what it is, but yeah. But I mean, the principle of it is so simple that what if there's just certain wavelengths that the scientific community, has conspired to prevent humanity from playing with a lot. And they are literally hiding. Like, if you just knew, you literally could make sunglasses that would let you see light in a way that would let you see all sorts of hidden, sneaky stuff going on around us, from the moon right in front of us. I mean, I was like on my walk this morning, you know what? I think these glasses might be real. You might be able to really make something like this.
Well, if it was just infrared or something, you definitely could.
Right. I mean, just infrared goggles would let you possibly see. What if you wore infrared goggles during the day? I wonder if there's things hidden in plain sight.
I did find the coordinates. I put it in our chat here, parents in. So they're interesting, but not that close together. Uh, but definitely both of them. So
Yeah, but who knows if they're even telling us the truth? They could be lying about it.
it's interesting that they are on the same, like the same latitude, you know, longitude. Longitude is the long one, right?
Yeah.
Or longitude. So they're in the same longitude, but not the same latitude.
Yeah. Hey, so we got two people joined us on Twitter Spaces. I don't know if you we should just tell them anyone can turn off their mic and just jump in the conversation if you want. Anything you want to add, Margaret?
Nope, that sounds great to me. If you have anything to add at any time, feel free to jump in and welcome. I can't see, I see B, but I can't tell the other two.
It's yeah.
Other person, welcome too. Welcome. Um, anyways, I was just googling what the name of the film was that said you see aliens, and it's not telling me. It's showing me some old movie from 1988 called They Live.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, if you look, it's a crazy, it's a crazy old. They Live. I mean, people need to watch They Live because it's a it's like hiding the concept of aliens hiding among us as humans. It's kind of like that this miniseries V, which has had reptilian aliens looking like humans hiding among us. Like that was, and then Land of the Lost, with the Slee Stack, where they go down a waterfall and go into the center of the earth, and there's dinosaurs and Slee Stack living underground. Like three lost classics. But yeah, it goes back to the theory that the scientific, you know, there's legends that Tesla, the original Tesla, like discovered all sorts of things that you could do with electricity and 0 point energy or extracting energy from the air, and it was like immediately suppressed in some way. Um, but yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
The U.S. government has all this research. Wouldn't it be nice to see in the U.S. government archives what they actually have in some of those things? That'd be too.
Well, I mean, it's like we have to create a new college, a new university, a new library of humanity, and I guess that's what the blockchain is. It's like because you can't, whoever has these secrets in their libraries, they're not sharing them. They're selfishly exploiting them. So we just need to, I think if we just start questioning some of the basic assumptions that we've been given from the physics community and just start with all these physicists the last 90 years have been lying and purposely gaslighting us. Like I've heard some people say string theory was literally a great waste of time, that they forced physics to go down and study because they knew it would waste a lot of time and brain power and energy. And it was just a big joke to distract physicists and to confuse people from the fact that it might be as something as simple as we're living in a computer simulation and there's certain ways to hack it and to break all the rules of physics because there are no rules other than the computer code that runs this place.
Speaking of physics, this week there was the news of superconducting at normal temperatures and possible fusion at normal temperatures, but it's been debunked again.
Yeah, that was a weird um, distraction. That and
Yeah. But also, like, wouldn't that happen if the government was squashing it?
right, or it could have been it just suppressed, instantly suppressed. I mean, Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, who do you trust? I mean, really, what voice do you trust at all? And I mean, if you're a soldier, how do you know to trust the orders of your commander if you're not even sure that the commander in chief of your country is actually in charge of the country? The commander in chief might be taking orders from some group called Majestic 12 because the US fell in 1954. This is a weird thing I realized. So in 1954, supposedly Eisenhower signs a treaty with aliens. They say the treaty renews every 10 years. So then in 63, 64, it would have been signed again, but in 63, they kill Kennedy. And so forcibly remove, and so maybe Lyndon Johnson was a better person for the aliens to sign to renew the treaty. And then Nixon comes in and they find a way to, it's Nixon, I hear, they had to tell, it was basically a military coup to get Nixon out because he was like, I'm not going to resign over this scandal. I'm just going to ride it out to the election and leave office. That was he was like, I can ride this out, but they had to do a military coup. They basically told, told the military behind the scenes to disobey any command coming from Nixon. And they told Nixon that, and that's what finally got him to accept it and to resign. But it was
Yeah, the day before he resigned, not when he resigned.
right.
That always just totally blew my mind. Like, how do you tell people not to listen to the president anymore the day before he quits? What?
Well, that's because it just shows that the president. It's. I mean, that was a coup. Like if Nixon was being told, you know, we. I mean, he was. Who knows what he was really told? Beyond the fact that the military will not obey you. I mean, he might have also been told we could kill you, or we will. You're basically going to start a civil war. I mean, they might probably were telling Nixon like, if you do not leave office willingly, we are going to tell the military not to obey you, and if you try, it might have started a war right there. So Nixon might have been just like backing down, realizing that this shadow government was really what was in control there, and they had the scandal was enough for them to justify forcefully removing him from office. But that might have also been because really an alien agenda. They might have been doing that because they wanted someone else to negotiate, you know, uh, the next treaty. So I
I'm
don't know.
just thinking about President Reagan saying we need some outside universal threats to make us recognize a common bond when he's at the United Nations. I was just looking up when that was. It was 1983.
Yeah.
Um, was something else going on with the United Nations right then?
Right.
Because
Right.
that was always like a weirdly sus quote, right? Like, we need an outside universal threat. What? Who would even say that, right?
Yeah. Presidents had to have known, but I just feel like they've had to when they find out that this is true, they find out also they are not the most powerful person on earth anymore. They are not even the most protected person on earth. They are, I think, throughout history, aliens have liked power to be into monarchs or presidents because that's the easiest thing to cut off. It's just that's a single point of failure. So when, push comes to shove, they can just assassinate a president or forcibly remove him from office or blackmail them. They don't want to have to deal with populace with a huge, in fully informed massive populace, too many people to have to deal with. So as long, you have these presidents who on the outside they look like they're the leader of the free world, but on the inside they are your patsy and they're completely vulnerable. You just like teach them immediately. We have technology that can send something into your house or any of your family members' house undetected. You can't stop it. Can do whatever it wants. We can demonstrate it to you. We can show you. We can explain how we did. I think I have a crazy, crazy theory of how the Kennedy assassination might have gone down that involves alien direct involvement in it.
Direct involvement in killing Kennedy?
I do. I mean, it's just a theory, but it fits some odd things about it. And But it also sort of goes back to what Grusch said in his hearing when they asked him, have you had harm done to you, as part of your revealing this? And Grush said yes. And they asked, like, are you saying it was by government or was it by the phenomenon? And he said both. And so I think that was a really strange moment that, I think he was legitimately opening the door to saying that the alien, the whatever this alien phenomenon is, directly tried to hurt him, possibly him and his wife. And if so, it's kind of a beautiful sort of like, if you think of it as like a historical legal action to testify before Congress, because you're saying to the aliens, one of you committed what we consider a crime against me and my wife, and you're kind of invoking the entire alien hidden phenomenon group to, if you have any sort of justice system, one of yours, we are now publicly declaring a criminal. You have done direct harm to us. We believe this has violated, probably, he could say it's violated the treaties that we've signed. So it's like I would assume Majestic 12, if they still exist, they still have some sort of court, some sort of actual court that they use. So he's almost saying to Majestic 12, one of you or the aliens with your cooperation or something, just like this is wrong and I have a right to. I mean, this could be literally the first time in history that the aliens were accused of a crime directly by a U.S. official, and by him saying that in the hearing. And that could be almost like a building point for negotiations between our societies. But anyways, it might not be the first time. I think, yeah, I have a crazy theory about Kennedy of that they may have been directly involved with that.
Are you going to share it, or are you going to save it for the Patreon?
You know, it's kind of can't really share it because it kind of connects to the other parts that I'm not sharing publicly because it really changes. I'll just say it this way. This is the weird thing about Kennedy's assassination. If you ever watch a movie where someone gets assassinated, like you ever like see a movie where a politician is like in a car or whatever and they get assassinated by a cool assassin. Like if you've ever seen that, I don't know if you watch those kind of movies. But you know what never happens is they never get shot twice. They get shot once. One good time does it because the assassin gets one good shot where there's not chaos. Why was Kennedy shot in an odd twice? Like, remember how he was sitting there and then he started clutching his neck, and they say he was shot in the neck, and then the super kill shot like blew his head apart. But in reality, in real life, if you're going to surprise someone and do something incredibly horrible, you get one moment. The minute something touched Kennedy, shot him, I mean, that's when everything should have like he should have been like thrown down into the car or something. Like, uh, anyways, you shouldn't have had a second shot. He shouldn't have been still and like sitting there, paused, waiting for that second shot. You know, and so, anyways, I think this is. I'll say it in this way. See, I think there is alien law. I think there are some rules that the aliens follow, and I think it probably is extremely forbidden for them to kill a human being. I think they really have that as a no-no. But think of that first shot on Kennedy. It didn't kill him. All it did was pin him and held him still and showed he was in a little bit of duress. What if that's the aliens were like, we will help you kill him. We will be the first ones to move. And they're ones that they were like, they demonstrated, we're in this with you now, blow his head off. But they can just say, look, we just held him still for a moment. We just, we didn't, they might not have even penetrated his neck. They might have just invisibly been doing something that is well within their powers to just show their allies in Majestic 12, we are going to help you kill this guy, and we'll do it. We're going to do it right here. And that was like the signal. Maybe that was the Anyways, I'll leave it at that. I won't go into how I think the aliens can do this, but they seem to have technology, like I said, that pretty much lets them do almost anything they want, like a magician. They have plenty of ways to obfuscate what they do. And anyway, so that's the gist of my theory with Kennedy.
So you don't think it's CIA, or you
Well,
think
yeah,
it's
I think
the
Majestic 12
secret?
has been in control of the CIA.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, Majestic 12 started with some weird intelligence group. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's all you had to do would have the CIA, one branch of the military, the Air Force, and then the Secret Service. You have to have total control over the protection of the president because that's the person that you will kill if because that's the only person you need to control. They're the commander in chief of the military, and you want complete command of the U.S. military. So you just have to, if the president knows I mean, yeah, the Secret Service and the CIA, of course, they had to be in on Kennedy. There's no way that came off without their participation. We just couldn't understand why they had been so corrupt. Now we know they were formed with the entire purpose of hiding the secret.
Oh, they were formed that same year after Roswell, right? And yeah, the timing is interesting, and also that they're both intelligence gathering organizations, right? The thing that I'm noticing more and more is that when there is conspiracy, very often it's done in the open. Like the Americans for the Progressive Century, around 2005, they published a book. They were very open about their alt right beliefs in the U.S. Right, and it's very often people are on each other's boards. They're publishing their little manifestos, right? Like yeah,
Okay, I have a
and you can see this with Raytheon and Lockheed Martin in their early days, right? Um, they were not bashful about taking charge of things.
yeah. Do
You were
you
going to say sorry.
yeah, do you well, I have a theory about the factions in the ufology world and what how they want this story to come out. It seems there's two groups. There's the 1933 onward group. They want to say this all starts in 1933 with a UFO that Mussolini had and was handed to the Vatican, handed it to the U.S. and then Roswell, and they just want the story to go forward as if that was the start of the alien involvement in human life. Do you believe 1933 was the start of alien involvement in human affairs?
No, absolutely not. I mean, all of their religious myths, all of their religious myths have very obvious alien ties. They're gods and overseers, Egypt, Sumeria, the Hindus, the Mayans. All of them have these powerful magical means that have advanced technology. Um, yeah, I don't. I mean, as far as modern history, I think that's about as far back as we can go as far as modern records.
1933.
Right. Um,
Well, why?
because that's when we can take pictures and we had newspapers and telegraph machines, all of that. In 1800s is pretty hard. You have some sparse news articles. When was the first cattle mutilation reported? Right. Asking. Um, but it is interesting. One thing I wanted to mention about the factions in ufology. Um, it's interesting to me that there are various different organizations. You've got the National UFO Reporting Center, you've got MUFON, you've got the Center for SETI, um, different organizations that don't always agree and interconnect, right? And then you have this new office out of the Pentagon that's supposed to be researching UFOs, and yesterday I was reading that they don't have a website, email, or phone number. So I don't know how they're researching anything if nobody can report stuff to them.
Yeah.
What? This has been in existence for over a year, and you don't have a web form yet
Yeah.
for submitting reports?
Yeah, and I suppose we should talk about the latest on Grusch and the article put out about his PTSD and
The mental health leakage. Of course, he's got PTSD. He was, what soldier doesn't?
yeah,
That has been in any kind of action.
yeah,
And this is the thing, like, they always stigmatize soldiers about this. Like, this is a normal part of being in the military, really.
yeah,
Like, every military personnel that has been in any kind of conflict, they should be automatically receiving supports and counseling. There shouldn't be some, you have to mentally diagnosis and now you are stigmatized and, like that. The fact that they're doing that tells me that he actually has something.
yeah.
Right? The hilarious bit though is why did it take him 8 weeks to get there? Like
8 weeks to
right?
get where?
To releasing his mental health.
I think they
Leaking his HIPAA.
yeah, I think they were looking for what could they do? What could they possibly do to hurt his credibility? And that was the best they could come up with. It was
Like, it took you 8 weeks to do this, guys? What?
yeah. It's interesting. It's like in Commander Fravor and Ryan Graves, they get nobody even tries anything with them. Like they're just like, oh, whatever. They're too clean.
No, that was weird. That was really, really weird to come out when it did.
Yeah.
Like, it would have made sense if they were immediately going, oh, who is this guy? We should check him out. And immediately going, yeah, we don't know about this guy, right? But time and time again, he has had people, the Senate Intelligence Committee, the Attorney General that say, hey, this has merit. Like, they would know if there was a mental problem with this dude. That'd be the first thing they'd check,
Hmm.
right? So it wouldn't take them 8 weeks, and they sure as heck wouldn't be coming out saying, yeah, we'll be accepting this. This has merit. We'll be investigating this. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That they have databases for this shit. Like that makes no sense.
Yeah.
To come out 8 weeks later. It's
Yeah.
not like it's super secret or buried.
Well, I mean, it did kind of change the news cycle. It got us off the Kirkpatrick is clearly, so it was able to, because it seems like, Grush really testified. I mean, Kirkpatrick, you mentioned Kirkpatrick clearly in the News Nation. He testified about it. He basically said Kirkpatrick lied to Congress. And then Kirkpatrick had that weird post where he said he was insulted. And we can't forget Susan Go. She put out that statement talking about this lifelong obligation to secrecy that people have. That was some like masked, I thought, implication.
Warning.
Yeah, it's like I thought that was actually more disturbing than Kirkpatrick because she's a much higher person in the Pentagon than him. He's just the director at Arrow, but she's like the spokesperson or something. I don't really know what she is, but but I just find that very threatening. Like I want to ask her, what do you mean by lifelong obligation to secrecy? Are you implying that under no circumstances during a person's life should they reveal certain secrets to Congress? Like, is that what you're implying? Why did you use the word lifelong? It's like you're implying their life, their ability to live and breathe is connected to their holding certain secrets. Um, I mean, Kirkpatrick,
Well,
it's just like him saying he's insulted. It's just like an egomaniac or something.
right. And, sorry if we asked the wrong questions and bruised your feelings, buddy, but this is our job, right? Like, Congress's job is to
Yeah, it's a really weird tactic to try to suddenly make things emotional rather than it's kind of a last resort when you don't have any sort of logical, rational. You just like go to extreme emoting, an extreme emotion, indignant reaction.
Yeah, and I mean, it is kind of a classical, debate style. When you don't have anything else to say, then go on, assault about how insulted you are.
But it's not a normal
Right?
style for a person that's a director of an office in the Department of Defense.
Exactly, right? This is, what politicians say in debate, right? Or,
Even then, it's not that often a politician will be on a debate stage and say you like what was his name? The guy that said you're no John Kennedy or something to Quayle, Dan Quayle, and he was like that was uncalled for. I mean, it makes you look very weak when you're like you hurt my feelings by insulting me.
yeah, I mean, for someone that is supposed to be, their director, it is strange behavior for sure, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, if you try to figure out how to contact the anomaly resolution office, good luck. So, I mean, yeah, but that's what happened in 1966 when they had congressional hearings. They appointed someone like Kirkpatrick who, you know, wasn't available, you know, and did an investigation, but did they, right? Um,
Yeah. Well, it's
right?
like this is going to unravel. That was actually, I think, one of the most beautiful moments in the hearing was Commander Fravor. I just think he knocked that thing out of the park when they asked all three of them, has the U.S. been participating in a information disinformation campaign about this? Ryan Graves was like, I don't have an answer for that. Grusch was like, absolutely, and I have evidence. And then Fravor, I wasn't sure what he would say, and he said, definitely since Project Blue Book. I mean, he pulled out the Project Blue Book, the historical reference, and he's like, currently, I do not speak for the U.S. government. So he was like, I don't know anything about now, but Project Blue Book, he is saying, I've looked at it, and clearly people then were lying. And that really opens up the door to tracing who's been lying. Like, it's so obvious that that was a lie now. We need to hold all the people that wrote that testified before Congress, and maybe every congressperson who obviously was a tool in the hearings, they need to be held accountable. And we can trace forward what's their lineage in the power structure. It's going to go through the Air Force like crazy. The CIA, director, George Bush was the director of the CIA. Like, what a perfect person to be president. Someone that was
In
director of
on
the
it,
CIA and
yeah.
in on it. And how did he get there? They got this actor to make him his vice president. They got Ronald Reagan, just a tool to run, and they got Reagan to take Bush as a vice president, which was his gateway to becoming the president.
Yep, it was for sure his gateway. Um, yeah, there's a TikToker talking about this recent hearing with so much disappointment, right? She's like an absolute believer. I believe she runs a tattoo studio that's like extraterrestrial tattoo or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and like me last week, she's just going off about like why are we not getting any kind of actual answers or proof, right? And why is like the answers and proof all like hush hush? I'll tell you that not here, right? Like, uh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, why do you think that is?
we need some kind of way to declassify it.
Yeah,
That's the thing, right? And and I worry, I am concerned that if we have had contact with aliens, that we're hiding it because we treated them so cruelly, right?
well, or they treated us so cruelly. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think Nick Pope, even like during one of his interviews, and I've totally come around on Nick Pope. I used to think, and I probably do think he might just be an agent of the British government. I mean, he has such a role in how this story is evolving. He could at least, I think he probably still has a definite connection with the British Secret Service. But he said, why are they resisting so hard, like letting any of this out? Why do they fight it every step of the way? And he says it might be because the truth is a secret, too horrible to speak. And I think there's going to be some dark, dark. And I think that's one of the reasons why the faction wants you to start in 1933 and work your way forward. Because I think between 1933 and say 1776, I think that there's some really disturbing, dark things that we're going to uncover about and it's going to make us question, I think, the very like fabric and legitimacy of our nation. Because I think it's going to go straight to I think the aliens have been involved every time a new nation is forming a new government. I think they're in there. They're always working their ways to manipulate in there, and I think they use corporations as one of their tools. That's why like they're right really behind corporations are people because they want to have as much rights and power as any human without actually participating. Corporations are the way they can do that. And so a lot of the corporate takeover of our entire history and everything's a corporation. The Democratic Party is a corporation, the Republican Party, every church is a corporation. They're all just corporations that I think it's gonna make everyone distrustful of everything as this unravels.
Well, a few episodes back, we talked about some Brazilian footage. I think you actually played it, where there was a gray alien that was being shown, right?
Yeah.
Um, and unfortunately, we don't get a lot of South American news up here, right? Um, but there has been some more activity. A Peruvian tribe talking about getting attacked, asking for military help. The nearby city in Peru has like major military presence, and is not like letting people come and go freely.
Yeah, I've been hearing all sorts of stuff about Peru, alien activity in Peru, and some weird videos being thrown out there on Twitter.
And in Brazil, uh, there's talk of more, more sightings, lots and lots of footage, right? Um, the thing that I think is so funny about UFO footage, though, is like every other one is Starlink that you find, right? Like so many like very genuine people in Facebook groups on Reddit are like, I have it, I have the proof. There it is. Even my father-in-law fell for it. Says video footage of Starlink. Right? Because it does look weird. You see like a whole line of satellites floating, right? Um, and people don't know about Starlink, right? Uh, but it makes it hard to kind of filter through the actual footage because there is so much about Starlink.
Well, now that we have AI video, it's like we really it's going to be hard to know what to trust at any sort of video you see. It's like we're going to need to really uh, we actually need Congress to investigate stuff to help us just try to figure out what is definitively true. Like what is you know what do we really have in possession of the U.S. and what is the shadow government walked off with, and because what does each country actually have? What's the truth of what rights do we have from the alien perspective, if any?
That is true. We desperately need more information. And I think the thing that is so shocking is that they just don't give us any. Like even in the NASA task force, they're willing to admit that there's orbs. We talk about there's weird orbs. They don't know what they are, right? Obama got on, whatever the James Corden Late Show and talked about that there's orbs that they don't know what they are, right? Um, but I kind of feel like that's just something to talk about. Like those are very obviously draws from another country, right? But as far as actual information, they're not giving us any, right?
Yeah.
And you know, people like people that were in the task force, you know, that say, when Grusch is like, oh, we'll talk at this other place, you know, we'll talk, wink, wink,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, okay, well, you know, come out of that and give us a thumbs up. Is there actually something there? Is there not? Like that's all we really want right now.
Yeah.
Is
I mean, just those answers and whatever he's gonna answer in the skip, like we have a right to know if people have been murdered. You know, if people have been murdered as part of this disinformation, you know, effort, it's kind of I think it's gonna have to come out in September. You know, I mean, I hope they don't like go, you know, beyond September. I hope they just like come back and they do a series of hearings on this and let the 12 levels of secrets come out and let the chips fall.
well, you know, we have so much going on, like especially in the Republican Party. You think someone would be, someone's got to know something, someone's got to know something, and share it here, right? It just, you know, Trump's out there saying he's not going to sign the Republican loyalty pledge, but yet they're still letting him be a Republican.
Huh.
You know, which he has to do in order to be allowed to participate in some of the debates. So we'll see what happens with that. It might just be a publicity stunt, right? And
Yeah.
getting people to ask him why, right?
Yeah.
But you know, the stuff that's going on within the Republican Party, you know, there's quite a few candidates that are, I don't know even know how many there are right now. But there's quite a few candidates coming forward that, you know, some of them should have knowledge in this area, like Mike Pence, right? That, you know, make it a campaign issue, declassify it, you know, that if they get in there, they'll declassify some of this stuff, right?
Gosh, it seems like this has got to all come out during the presidential primaries and the next year. And I mean, it's just like, and you know, what if Rubio runs for president and you know he just like bites the bullet and say this is actually the most important issue at this moment. It's a truth and reconciliation over this issue and all the impacts it has in technology. And I mean, he could. I mean, he ran for president before, and he is definitely seems to be one of the leaders of the disclosure movement. That might be his play, him running for president next year.
Yeah, when does, I mean, this probably won't all start really kicking up until after the new year, right?
I think once kids are back in school, September Congress. I think it's. I just think August is just a dead month for anything. People are all at the beach, and so it's just like, and maybe that was they kind of did this on purpose. They were like, really let it all out right before August, when you know to try to just like keep the emotions low and to give the you know everyone time to sort of try to process it and come up with a way to talk about it.
Well, while the Hollywood writers are on strike and can't write about it,
Yeah, that's interesting.
we won't be having any major movies or anything going on about it right now because the writers can't write.
Right. Well, we don't even have like you know real talk shows. Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Colbert. We don't have the Daily Show. Nothing is really live looking at it. This is it would be covered. Jon Stewart would have been covering this on the Daily Show.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like,
Oh, yeah.
and
I'd
but
love to know what Jon Stewart had to say about this, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. But I think they're getting close to the end. They're actually, excuse me, negotiating. So
hmm.
we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, as a Republican Party, if these, you know, 8 or 10 candidates that are coming forward for president, if they won't do a loyalty pledge to back whoever is nominated, it kind of is like, well, they shouldn't be part of your party then. Take them out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it shouldn't be tolerated because that's the whole point of being a party member is that you respect the process. You respect the democratic process to nominate a candidate. And if you don't respect that, then you're not respecting the party that you're participating with, right? Like,
yeah.
The fact that the Republican Party is tolerating this at all, what? I mean, I know they're worried about fracturing the party, right? They don't want to do that because if Trump left, he has a lot of followers that would probably start their own party, right? And if they fracture the party, they will definitely lose against the Democrats. But they should not tolerate this. It goes against everything that democracy is, right?
Yep.
I see Wally John.
Yes, I've queued up closing music if we want to wrap.
We certainly can wrap.
All right. Any final thoughts for this week?
I want answers.
Hmm.
I'm ready to tantrum over it. What's our call to action this week? I think we should just tell people to follow your Twitter.
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay. So, do we have anything else? I'm just gonna take a quick peek. I think we covered it all. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen next in this process? What are we at? Week 9 after the Grusch original interview? How far along are we?
That's like June. That sounds right because it was like June 6th or something. I would say, another call to action is here in Port Townsend, Washington, we have a local UFO MUFON sort of led group. And so you might have one in your own town if you want to go meet people that have been thinking about this for a long time, might have already have years and years of research and thought about stuff, and you want to just pick their brains. You could just go to one of those, and I mean, if you're going because you're curious and want information, people love to talk. It's people don't like it if you're going to like make fun of them and mock them. But yeah.
That is perfect. We need grassroots movement on this for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So our call to action today is look for your local group. Go local. Also follow Meditation Matt on Twitter, right? For eclectic mix of philosophy, art, activism, and ufology. Thank you for coming today. Thank you, V, for being here today in our Twitter space. We hope that more people will join us as we grow. We'll be doing this again on August 17th. And don't be afraid of the truth.
forget that one has dancing at the
I
end.
love it. I love it. It's so good.
Yes. Cool.
I forgot to start my upward timer, so there will be a manual entry on this.
Ah,